Well, hello again. It is June 11th, and we are in the New Testament, book of John, chapter 19, verses 1 through 22. And here we read, Pilate then took Jesus and scourged him, and the soldiers twisted together a crown of thorns and put it on his head, and put a purple robe on him. And they began to come up to him and say, Hail, King of the Jews! And to give him slaps in the face. Pilate came out again and said to them, Behold, I am bringing him out to you so that you may know that I find no guilt in him. Then Jesus came out wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe. Pilate said to them, Behold the man. So when the chief priests and the officers saw him, they cried out, saying, Crucify him, crucify him. Pilate said to them, Take him yourselves and crucify him, for I find no guilt in him. The Jews answered him, We have a law, and by that law he ought to die because he made himself out to be the Son of God. Therefore, when Pilate heard this statement, he was even more afraid, and he entered into the praetorium again and said to Jesus, Where are you from? But Jesus gave him no answer. So Pilate said to him, You do not speak to me. Do you not know that I have authority to release you and I have authority to crucify you? Jesus answered, You would have no authority over me unless it had been given you from above. For this reason, he who delivered me to you has the greater sin. As a result of this, Pilate made efforts to release him, but the Jews cried out, saying, If you release this man, you are no friend of Caesar. Everyone who makes himself out to be a king opposes Caesar. Therefore, when Pilate heard these words, he brought Jesus out and sat down on the judgment seat at a place called the Pavement, but in Hebrew, Gabbatha. Now, it was the day of preparation for the Passover. It was about the 6th hour, and he said to the Jews, Behold your king. So they cried out, Away with him, crucify him. Pilate said to them, Shall I crucify your king? The chief priests answered, We have no king but Caesar. So he then handed him over to them to be crucified. They took Jesus, therefore, and he went out, bearing his own cross to the place called the place of skull, which is called in Hebrew Golgotha. There they crucified him, and with him 2 other men, one on either side, and Jesus in between. Pilate also wrote an inscription and put it on the cross. It was written, Jesus the Nazarene, the King of the Jews. Therefore many of the Jews read this inscription, for the place where Jesus was crucified was near the city, and it was written in Hebrew, Latin, and in Greek. So the chief priests of the Jews were saying to Pilate, Do not write the King of the Jews, but that he said, I am King of the Jews. Pilate answered, What I have written, I have written. So, they were telling him, just on that part, they were telling him, don't put that on there. Say that he said he was the King of the Jews, not that he's the King of the Jews. And Pilate responded with, Hey man, leave me alone. I wrote what I wrote. Get out of here. So anyway, I wanted to reflect back on the fact of, Jesus Christ was innocent. We all know that. And the Pharisees, Sadducees, and all the corrupt people, they were all trying to make him out to be guilty, but they could not make him out to be guilty. They never had any witnesses against him for something that was guilty. And as we read through all this stuff, especially when they grabbed a hold of Jesus, he was pointing out that, he was sort of telling them to do certain things or asking them why. Like, for example, why do you ask me these things? Ask the people what I've spoken. And that in a sense is his reference to he's innocent. There's no witnesses against him because, back then, and I ain't gonna say now, but you know, you really needed to have at least 2 witnesses against someone. And so they had this court at night, and he was, and that's, you know, something that's not normal or against the law of Israel back then. But they, you know, they held this phony courtship over Christ and had no witnesses against him. And then they tried to convince Pilate that he was against Caesar because he calls himself a king. They were just coming up with all kinds of stuff. And bottom line is, Jesus was always innocent, but Jesus came for a purpose, and he served that purpose because his Father told him to. And, of course, his Father is our Father. All right, that is the end of me rambling. This is the end of June 12th, 11th. Thank you. God bless. Hope to see you soon.